the main thing that this legislation does is codify, basically make permanent all these tax cuts that were issued in 2017 as part of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, better known as the Trump tax cuts or the Republican tax cuts. All this big tranche of tax cuts were all coming to expire at the end of this year. So unless something was done, I think somewhere in the range of 60 to 70% of taxpayers would actually see their taxes go up next year. So that's the main thing that this does. The biggest chunk of this legislation is makes these individual tax cuts permanent for like individual income rates. And then it also does some other tax changes that were part of President Trump's campaign agenda. No, he campaigned on no taxes on tips. He campaigned on eliminating taxes for overtime wages, no Social Security taxes, that sort of thing. So what this legislation does is takes all these tax cuts that came in his first term, continues those, extends them out, makes them permanent, and also includes all these other tax provisions that he sort of campaigned on this time around. And some of those tax provisions are a little more niche. They cater to one subset of workers. Obviously, the amount of tipped wage workers is a pretty small population when it comes to the overall US. But all these kind of tax changes are included in that. And then there are also other things that are kind of outside of that tax space. So it provides a lot of money for border wall funding. It provides money for deportations of illegal immigrants. It also does things that are kind of popular with fiscal conservatives. So cut spending in Medicaid, cut spending on the SNAP program or food stamps. And it does kind of cut spending more specifically in those programs by applying work requirements to those. So it sort of has this very broad appeal for different subsects of, the Republican Party. You have the fiscal hawks have some things that they like. You have the populists, some things they like, for instance, a bigger child tax credit. And then you have some things that the traditional Republican base likes, or the supply siders within the party like, which are basically like the business tax provisions, full expensing, R&D, that sort of thing. So it's a very pretty broad package. I don't think it's much of a stretch to call it, the big part of it, the beautiful bill. We'll see how it all shakes out in the coming months as this tax policy start to be implemented.